Welcome to Scrub In, a podcast powered by Bayhealth. I am your host, Sarah Beebe.
And I am your co-host, Tyler Cody.
Thank you for joining us as we ask ourselves to scrub in
and talk more about our why behind the healthcare uniform.
Welcome back, everyone. Episode 5 of Season 3 of Scrub In, powered by Bayhealth. So today we have John Shevock and Dan Wagner. John is the Executive Director of the Bayhealth Cancer Institute, and Dan is my other half in the Sim Center. The Bayhealth, you are the Bayhealth Sim Center Sim specialist. I know what your title is.
Simulation lab specialist.
Simulation lab specialist.
Yes.
We're working on certified simulation operations specialist, but
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah. So we're going to be talking to you all about your experience. So Dan is a 2-time cancer survivor and has utilized Bayhealth for each of those experiences. And then John, you are in the cancer center, and so we wanted to bring you both on to kind of hear how that all works together, and Dan, hear about your experience. So we always start with a quote.
Yes.
And so today's quote is, "The good physician treats the disease. The great physician treats the patient who has the disease." And that's from William Osler.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do here at Bayhealth, John?
So I've been at Bayhealth for a little more than 20 years now. I've been solely in the oncology department, and so I have operational responsibility for what's called the oncology service line, and that includes medical and radiation oncology, physician practices, accreditations, and our Cancer Institute team.
Awesome. Yeah. And Dan, how about you?
I've been at Bayhealth a little over 32 years now, so just like an entire lifetime, right?
Yeah, that's awesome.
So started off years ago working with cardiac rehab, and there was a fitness center within Bayhealth, and then transitioned into education about 11 and a half years ago. And then just a year and a half ago, came over to the simulation center. So just been doing all kinds of fun stuff with Sarah now for a year and a half.
Yeah. Many hats over your time here at Bayhealth.
Yeah,
Yes.
quite a few.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Simulation being the best, of course.
Right.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And when I said that we are jet lagged, we literally, today is our first day back to work after speaking at a conference in Vegas. So we are on Pacific time still.
I didn't know what time zone I was in because it keeps changing out there as you travel around.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to see you guys made it back.
yeah.
Yes. So we, on this podcast, we always ask everybody what their why is. And so I'd love to start with you, John. So what brought you to the cancer center setting, and why do you do what you do?
So it's kind of an interesting story. I was in graduate school doing research, and finally got to an opportunity where I started looking for positions. It was something that I wanted to work in the healthcare industry.
Mm-hmm.
Actually had something lined up at CHOP, and an opportunity presented itself to come back to Delaware, originally from Dover, and have been here ever since. And so it's almost like you get into a family in the cancer center, and that's really what it is. It's a family environment. It's about relationship building, and I sort of fallen in love with that line of work, and I've been here since. Clearly, I've been here for 20 years, so it's challenging, and it offers a lot of different innovative environments.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
In what we've been doing over the last 20 years.
That's awesome. And Dan, how about you? Why do you do what you do?
Yeah. So knowing that the podcast is all about that, is the kind of thinking, like, of course, family is a big part of why you do, like initially starting off with work. I kind of chose something that I could do where my schedule was a little bit more flexible, and because my wife's a nurse as well, and it made sense, like what I started off in. But then over the years, things transitioned, and I feel like I always wanted to do something where I was helping people. That's like in all the different positions I've been in. There's definitely that feeling like you're helping out the staff or community or now I get to kind of work with the whole hospital systems, like doing simulations. So just feel like the fact that I can do something where you feel like you're making a difference and really changing things within the hospital. So
Great.
Yeah. Now, on that, since you've been here for 32 years, we joke that you're like the mayor of Bayhealth. You know everybody. And I discovered that when I started working with you. And you know every back way to everything, and you know everybody. And so when you were diagnosed with cancer, tell us about your experience at Bayhealth. I'd love to hear your experience overall, but, you chose to stay at Bayhealth for your care for both rounds. And, not everybody does that. Not everybody wants to be seen at the place that they work. And so what brought you here?
Yeah, I actually had a number of people that were like, "You're going to get care where you work." Like, isn't that weird? Like, because knowing I was going to have surgery and that sort of thing is just, I guess to them, like their viewpoint was like, why would you want to be taken care of with people that you see on a daily basis? But to me, it was like John said, it's very much a family environment. We are a community hospital, so having been there for 32 years, I do know a lot of people. People that took care of me, just about everybody knew who I was. So, but who's better to take care of you than your own family, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So, like from, environmental services staff to the nurses to the managers, everybody, they were checking in on me. And when I was in the hospital, people were coming in, to see how I was doing and stuff. And that was like that first round, 3+ years ago, 3 months about. We were in the height of COVID still, so it was a really different environment. But like initially, I was having some symptoms, and even with COVID going on, because I work in the hospital, I was able to go talk to a doctor, and just happened to catch him kind of in between cases, and he just took the time to talk to me. He was like, "Yeah, let's see what's going on." And he felt like it was valid enough to check out, and then when he realized, like, hey, this is cancer, he just really like bent over backwards as far as like gave me a cell phone number. He was like, if you need anything, you reach out to me. So, and that's how really everybody was all the way throughout my care. So, just really incredible, just how everybody took care of me, and like just can't say enough about like all the staff. Sandy, who's one of our nurse practitioners, like, she'd get a hold of me on a Saturday, like, hey, your blood works great. Like, we're good to go on Monday morning, for treatment. So that was just the way it was all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
So
Great. It's not just the VIP treatment. It's really like your family caring for you.
Yeah.
After 30+ years of, employment here. That's
right.
Great.
Yeah. Not to mention, you don't like to take time off work. So
yeah. I was off just kind of like what I had to be off of work. I was pretty bad if I was off of work. So, the rest of the time, like, I'm definitely one that I feel like work kind of kept me like centered and like normal, like I just couldn't be at home. I could have taken time. I've got the time. I've been here enough years. I've got a lot of paid time off built up and that sort of thing. But I'd rather really be at work if I could possibly be at work. So just kept on plugging at it whenever I could, even when some people told me that I was green that day and not looking that great, right, Sarah?
Your head was extra shiny.
Yeah, as I was like losing hair and stuff. Yeah.
Sorry about that. One thing that you mentioned is that, who better to take care of you than family? And coming from a family of physicians and healthcare providers, that is true. But then sometimes it's good to go outside of your family to make sure that you didn't miss anything. And so you were able to do that here by going up to Penn, right?
Yeah, there came a point where Dr. Sawney and Dr. Rather, kind of came together and they were just like, we'd really like to get another set of eyes on this. It's kind of an unusual presentation. All the factors between my age, like on the slightly younger side. I don't feel so young anymore, but on the younger side for what I was going through. The fact that I exercise and ate healthy and all those things, like they were like, this is not quite normal. So they were like, we'd feel more comfortable if we had another set of eyes on this all and just see what they think, see if they're thinking the same way as us. So ultimately they sent me up to the University of Penn, and because of our affiliation with them, it was real seamless. They just got me in, made the calls, set up the appointments, and went up there, and I'm still continuing to follow up with them and with the continued care. So
yeah. And John, can you speak a little bit to that and how our cancer center works for a community health system, but then still having these, connections outside?
Sure. Yeah, it's we've been affiliated with the University of Pennsylvania as a member of the Penn Cancer Network since 2008. So we've had a long established relationship with that organization. And one of the benefits of that is that if there are second opinions that are needed, or somebody doesn't feel comfortable with what they're hearing, it's not really anything that we would be upset at or feel like hey, we want everybody to feel comfortable with what their plan of care is going to be. And so having that relationship where patients can go up, it's really beneficial that we're on the same EMR platform. So both providers see all the information. And then the other piece to it is that if there are specific sets of information that might not be in, like on our media tab, we talked about the dreaded media tab, that Penn might not have access to, our navigators actually are the point of contact to the single point of contact at Penn, another navigator.
Oh, great.
Oh, wow.
They work out that. And typically our goal is within 24 to 48 hours, patient either has their appointment or they're going to their appointment.
Wow.
Considering that
Awesome.
there may be some barriers, transportation,
Right.
Or family that want to be involved. We certainly want family involved, and that may take a little bit extra time, but we're trying to get that appointment within 24 to 48 hours.
Interesting.
A lot of coordination goes on in that.
Yeah. And the navigators are nurses?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. They're all required to be certified.
Okay. Oh, wow. All right. I didn't realize that was a certification.
Yeah, there's a couple. One is an oncology certified nurse. That's through Oncology Nursing Society. It's been around for a long time. And then there's another one through the American Oncology of Nurse Navigators. And navigators can either at an RN level or at a lay level or LPN level.
Oh, okay.
Could get a certification. So we do require that in our program. Any RN level has a certification associated with it.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. And Dan, your experience with that kind of navigation role, I know you were able to reach out to that person and maybe get up with them faster than some other people to get billing taken care of and all.
Yeah, like I was going to be using some intermittent FMLA, and I don't know if I'm allowed to drop a name, but for V, Renee was amazing. Like, she just took care of everything. The paperwork was just so seamless. So, I felt like it was just knowing you always had somebody to reach out to, no matter what your questions were, was just really nice. So I always felt like I had, like, the nurses, the navigator, Sandy as the nurse practitioner, my doctor. So there's so many people. So you always had somebody to reach out to.
That's awesome.
It's a great sense of security for us here in Delaware too,
Yeah.
that we know we have access to care, quality care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's certainly been nice to observe your care from a distance and to see just how much everybody has cared for you and checked in on you and, and all of that kind of stuff from the cancer center. And then also just from the Bayhealth community, everybody, everybody knew about your diagnoses and things like that, but not from a HIPAA standpoint.
No. I was very open and shared it on social media, stuff like that. And pretty much the whole hospital knew what was going on. And, I was, pretty open as far as like how my care was going and everything throughout the whole process. So,
That's awesome. Now, on the line of maybe going outside of Bayhealth or just, what we have here at Bayhealth, what kind of innovations are we seeing and using in cancer care?
A couple. One, and Dan actually was a part of this program. It's our rectal program, a rectal cancer program. So we have a specific accreditation associated with that, and that's led by Dr. Asar Rather and his nurse practitioner Adrian Fisher. And it's an outstanding program where we're required to follow best practice clinical guidelines, and that's really what attracted us to that accreditation. Where you might have accreditations that have a lot of check the box very well, but this one is more focused on clinical care and clinical best practice. So that's one aspect, and there are potentially have other cancer tumor sites that'll be coming in the future with having site specific accreditations. So that's one. And then our precision oncology program, we're focusing on the genomics. And this is, sort of melds in my background of IT, where I sort of like this techie side, where you're getting down to the cellular level, looking at what actionable mutations there are and potentially what targeted therapy options patients may have.
Wow.
So it's not really about the tumor site anymore. It's about what was behind the patient's genetic makeup. And it could be either family history or some type of other actionable mutation that a patient may have.
Yeah. Oh, that's so
that's
interesting.
fascinating.
We've been working on a database with a software company to help us really manage that data, because you can imagine it's reams of data.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we would get test reports back that are in PDF form. So you can think 40 pages of data, but you're trying to search through and think, oh, wait a minute, did this patient have this actionable mutation, before, and now we have a targeted therapy that's approved. Having that ability to be able to search and query patients either for those actionable mutations or a patient list for a potential clinical trial.
Wow.
It has been very beneficial for the program.
Wow. And we do have patients that are in clinical trials and all of that at Bayhealth as well, correct?
Yeah. We've had a clinical research program since, I want to say about 2004. Might have predated me before I arrived, but then certainly when we became affiliated with Penn, our clinical trials from a national level, from a National Cancer Institute level, are through the University of Pennsylvania.
Wow. It's so nice to be able to be in Kent and Sussex County and be able to get cancer care. Because, not that long ago, I can remember family members or friends from Sussex driving up to Philadelphia every day or renting an apartment to have treatment, which still I'm sure happens. But having witnessed your treatment and the fact that you didn't have to do that is so nice.
I can't imagine, like if I'd had to go up, those days going up into Philadelphia, the traffic's so horrendous, and the fact that I can get that care right here, and feel like it's really top-notch care. It really makes a difference.
That's
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think if there's anything else that's so fantastic about the Cancer Center, anything else that you want to share?
I think it's just a fantastic work of the team. We have a wonderful group of physicians, nurse practitioners, nurses, radiation therapists, physicists, dosimetrists. The list goes on and on of everybody that we have.
What is a dosimetrist?
Dosimetrist. So
that's a vocab word.
That is.
They're actually the behind the scenes folks that do the treatment planning and radiation therapy.
Okay.
Okay.
So, actually, when we would do tours, when we opened the facility at Kent, that was actually Mr. Murphy's favorite stop, to talk in and show people, what the dosimetrists do and, how. But it's basically it looks like a bunch of grid of lines that, they're targeting the tumor.
Wow.
In a 3-dimensional setting.
Oh, cool.
And using background algorithms to really have a tight tolerance of how high they can go in a dose at a targeted way.
Wow.
Yeah. I have found it so interesting that everybody's treatment is so different based on, and really even people with the same diagnosis as you, Dan, we've seen them have different treatments. And so it's so specialized and
it's very personal.
Yeah.
It's very personal, and it goes not only from the treatment side, but the emotional side, and from a personal perspective with the patient. It's an extremely emotional experience to go through for patients and their families.
Yeah. And actually on that, what kind of resources do we have for emotional support for somebody? Dan is always, good to go. And so I didn't see that part when he was going through care. But what is out there in Bayhealth for family and for patients and family who are dealing with this?
So the navigation program it's one of the core components is the patient support. And then, if it gets to a different level, there are other resources that we have in the community. One of which is, we have licensed clinical social workers in our cancer center. And then we leverage, if there are resources in the community, instead of, cannibalizing that particular resource, if there's a support group out there, we'll partner with that group and, sort of try and expand and grow those community partnerships if there's already a resource in the community.
Oh, awesome.
So instead of creating something and then sort of dividing, and taking away, we want to enhance those community groups and community partnerships because typically they're led by former patients.
Wow. Okay. Cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else that you want to share? Either one of you?
A couple things. First of all, when you said I'm good to go, I was good to go mostly because I had an incredible network of people, that really, they were there to listen if I wasn't feeling well and, just support me all the way through. So really had a great network. The technology being that patient that goes in, like seeing the way that the radiation is done, it's just really incredible. I mean, you're not in there that terribly long. But I know from other family members that work within healthcare and work with that kind of equipment, not all hospitals have that true beam technology. I mean, John can speak better on the true beam technology, but not all places have that kind of technology. And I mean that we have this big piece of equipment that makes a full circle all the way around you to deliver that radiation exactly where it needs to be delivered, which is pretty crazy. When you're laying there, going through it, it's pretty incredible. And there was, times throughout the treatment where they wanted a more focused radiation, and they can narrow it down to pinpoint, just that area that they want to hit. So, that's really, really cool to see that technology in a community hospital.
Yeah.
Right here at home, honestly.
I guess what I would say is what makes me so proud, especially being from Central Delaware, is that we do have all of the technology and care here locally for patients, and to see the program grow over these last 20 years, it's just been phenomenal from a perspective. But it really comes down to just the enjoyment I have of just working with these folks day in and day out, whatever we need to elevate our program or to offer our patients so they don't have to travel, because folks shouldn't have to travel for care. It's already a significant diagnosis when someone is diagnosed with cancer. I have had family members who have been diagnosed with cancer, and it's not anything that I think people want to go through. But it's knowing that we have the resources here for folks that they don't have to go is what makes me or challenge me each and every day coming here to make sure that folks don't have to leave.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Anything else you want to share?
I think we're good. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you both for joining us. It was nice to hear both the patient side and the leadership side. And this has been an interview that I've wanted to do for a while, just because it is so unique that somebody like Dan has, chosen to do all of his care at Bayhealth. And actually, it's not unique at Bayhealth. A lot of people do it, but here at our organization. But just hearing that story and why you chose to do what you do is pretty cool. So thank you both so much for coming and joining us.
Thank you guys very much.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us on Scrub In, a podcast on humans, heroes, and healthcare. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe and follow us wherever you listen so you don't miss what's next.
Please leave us a review, tell a friend, and come scrubbing with us next time.